This is HipHopRaisedMe, where we celebrate 47 years of the younger genre of music, hip-hop, where it's about the knowledge, the culture, and the lifestyle. My name is C.E.O. Dream, and this is the future of hip-hop journalism. Hip-Hop Raised Me.
They sent the message to the world: you rebel, don't comply.
Yes.
They sent the message to the world: you rebel, don't comply, disagree with us, we'll kill you. The powers that be, they exposed themselves on that day. Attica makes no sense, absolutely, in isolation from social and historical context that was taking place at the time. We're talking about Attica comes in the context of the ending of the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement targeted by COINTELPRO and their leaders being brought down. And it was generally a period of pushback by the establishment. And in the prisons all across America, because of this pushback, the prisons were being filled with people that were involved in the movements.
At Attica, there was a political group of people, and they were members of the Young Lords Party, they were members of the Black Panther Party.
The BLA, the Weathermen, the Students for a Democratic Society, all kinds of activity, the anti-Vietnam War.
There was a huge Nation of Islam contingent.
So in Attica, you had a perfect storm of, of people engaged in challenging the system, and from the streets, from the jails, and from the prisons. And they seemed to be directing them all to one place, and it was Attica.
The conditions were horrific. The temperature sometimes got to be 119 degrees. People made 56 cents a day. They were allowed one shower every 2 weeks. They were allowed one roll of toilet paper. They had no right to read what they wanted to read. There was no due process in the parole process. There were these two doctors, Sternberg and Williams, and they were incredibly vicious, incredibly racist, and hideously incompetent. And so the medical care was beyond horrifying. To go into these guys was awful.
I went to Attica in 1966 and was there through to September 16th, 71. That was the first time I was confronted with overt racism. The administration and the police created situations to keep the black guys against the white guys against the Spanish guys, and the Spanish guys against the black guys, And as long as they, created division, they were able to control the joint. It was just a volatile, repressive society. It remained a powder keg. It just so happened it took 71, September 9th, to explode.
The Attica prison riot was not planned. That's not what happened. That's not how this happens, right? Egypt shows us this, right? Things are spontaneous, right? Because people cannot take it anymore. And something happens that sparks it. And what happened at Attica to spark it was silly, but based on racism.
I remember September the 8th, there was an incident in the yard about a football game, football practice.
Two of the members of the A Block football team, a white man and a black man, Ray Lamourie and Leroy Dewar began to spar, right, as they were practicing for football. The guards saw this. They immediately assumed, right, that it was some kind of scene, and they tried to stop it.
That evening at lock-in, they went to the cells and drug some guys out and took them to SAG, to the box. And the next morning, the place exploded. When it started, I was in the shower. I stepped out of the shower, and the world has changed. You know, I see a guy driving down the hallway on a forklift. At the end of the hallway, there was a gate, and he put the tongues up underneath the gate and started pulling it up. By the mess hall, police was throwing tear gas canisters at this guy, and other inmates was picking them up and throwing them back at the police. When the gate came down, that's when he ran. And I said, oh, wow, it's a new world.
They then opened up the whole prison, and what we had is a full-fledged riot. And there are hundreds of people running through, smashing, taking people hostage, and there's this huge riot going on. There is no coordination. No one has planned this. This is happening. And they all get into the yard, and at that point, it became a rebellion. People could sleep. They could see the sun. They could see the sky. They were free, even though they were contained in this thing.
We're looking now at a group on top of square control.
There wasn't no real leaders, you know. There were guys that knew what needed to be done, and they stepped up and did it.
Everybody got together, and they put together a list of 28 demands right away. The first of the 28 demands were just basic, right? They asked that Sternberg and Williams, the doctors, be fired and proper Medicare be put in. They asked for the ability to read what they wanted. They asked for more than 56 cents a day. They asked for more than one bar of soap a month. They asked for more than one shower every 2 weeks. They asked for more toilet paper. They asked for lawyers at parole hearings. They asked for inmate grievances. They asked for all of the panoply of prisoners' rights, right, which essentially then, after what happened at Attica, did become pretty institutionalized across the board for about 10 years. And then the list expanded to 31 demands. And the last 3 demands were get rid of Mancusi. Everybody got to go to a non-imperialist country. And the third being complete amnesty.
And so it looked like things were under control, but the administration was put in a position where they couldn't back down. You know, they couldn't set a precedent that would then sweep the country.
It was presented, and, you know, the next move was on the state, you know. Yeah, they acknowledged getting it, but their minds was already made up.
Meanwhile, all these state troopers from all over the country, all over the state, I mean from Long Island all the way up, were massed outside of Attica, being told that that the inmates were were emasculating the hostages, and being told how to do the assault. They were told that they should take their name tags off so that no one could identify who did what. They were given weapons out of the arsenal, and no one noted who had what weapon. They were given ammunition, and no one noted who had what ammunition, which is absolutely, every procedure established on any kind of armed assault was intentionally not followed at Attica, because what was wanted was a massacre. That's what they wanted, and that's what they got.
The rebellion started September 9th, 1971 on a Thursday, and it ended September 13th, 1971. 4 days, you know, we had prison for 4 days, and they took it back, you know, and they killed a lot of people in doing it.
My unit was called up from Buffalo to go into Attica prison in September of 1971. On Sunday night of a regular drill weekend, we were held over, and on Monday morning at about 6:30, went to the prison in a convoy of trucks. The prison yard was filled with tear gas rising up and helicopters circling overhead saying, put down any weapons, you know, you won't be harmed.
A state trooper helicopter came over, announcing, you know, place your hands upon your head and walk towards the nearest trooper, you won't be harmed. And then the guns went off. And then the National Guard helicopter came over and dropped the gas. And guns are still going off.
All these guys were told specifically that whatever they wanted to do was fine and they would be protected and nothing would happen to them. And then they were sent in there, right, and they fired 4,500 rounds of ammunition on unarmed people, right? The first thing they did after they dropped CS gas, which put everybody down on the ground. And you can see it, it's all on film. You see the gas drop out of the helicopter. You see everybody go down, and at the instant the gas is dropped, you see the 270s mow down everybody on the catwalks.
I'm looking around, and guys are getting blown apart. You know, and I'm seeing this. You know, I'm seeing limbs flying. You know, guys are getting cut up. You know, and then the troopers start coming into the yard, and this trooper helicopter, this yellow helicopter, is still saying, "Stand up, put your hands upon your head, you won't be harmed." And I'm watching guys do it and getting cut down.
There was a hail of gunfire by the state troopers through the tear gas, and they indiscriminately ended up killing hostages, that is correction officers, as well as inmates. So most of what we were seeing were wounds from rifle shot. There were two large walls intersecting, creating 4 quadrants in the prison yard. We went out onto the top of those walls, and the first thing that we saw was a pile of maybe 9 or 10 bodies, dead prisoners. One had been shot right through the eye. I mean, there were things that were grotesque like that we saw. Below us, in the quadrants of the prison yard, were thousands of naked prisoners, most of them lying flat. As we walked through the halls of the prison, we saw lines of naked prisoners being processed back, I guess, into whatever place in the prison they would be held. And the prisoners were run through this gauntlet, really, of guardsmen on either side of the road, past the fence into the far building, where we could hear screams coming out as they were obviously being beaten. As the correction officers ran them through this gauntlet. They used racial epithets to taunt them, and things like, you're not so proud now.
It still amazes me about the guards that were killed, and how the state tried to blame it on us.
After we left the prison yards and reconvened by our trucks, an elderly colonel spoke to us, and he said basically that we should be proud of what we had done that day, and yet that people outside of the military or outside of this place wouldn't really understand what had happened, and that he asked us to exercise discretion in terms of what we said publicly about what we had seen. And I felt that that was simply wrong, because we had seen things that weren't right, and they really had to be spoken about.
After that, they made concessions, as they always do. And before long, they took them back, because they weren't rights given. No rights were given, only privileges. At that time, there was 300,000 prisoners in the United States. Today, there are 2.3, 2.4 million prisoners. The prison population has expanded exponentially to the point where the United States, who has 5% of the world's population, has 25% of the world's prisoners. We have become a prison nation.
I think that all the maximum security prisons should be closed, but I certainly think that Attica should be closed. If you go into D Yard, if you go and look at A Yard, you can still see the bullet holes, because that revolution, right, and what happened will last forever.
It should have ceased to exist after that rebellion. They should have closed it down, tore it down. But what's more important is the policies that created that Attica exist and continues to exist.
I've had nightmares for years. I've woken up smelling the gas or hearing guns go off. And this is 40 years later. I'm still going through this. And this shouldn't happen to nobody. I know, because it happened to me.
on the phone call from individual RIKERS who's going to speak further on the conditions that they're facing, going throughout the buildings. From what I was told, individuals can't even sick call, but they have civilians running around giving peace. So, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, very familiar with things that do in the prison system. Convict. You understand? We're waiting on this phone call right now. Call, and we're gonna get more. Weren't of what happened in those 4 within Attica prison has affected us all. Those of us who have in New York facility, Department of Corrections. All right, we want to definitely shed light on the situation, and we want to bring forth some awareness. We want to bring. We want the people to what's going on your peoples. That's because they're going through a lot of hard now. People. Oh, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. However, you may not understand the capacity of what comes with, or even going in jail. Well, them Allen, they're not convicted of the crime. They just, they're fighting case. So they have to express their rights, because they're not convicted by the state of New York. you know. So we basically want to this on the situation, you know, that many of the prison without U.S. prison system have trickled down throughout the prison system because of many political prisoners that were convicted of crimes against the establishment. I played the video earlier so people a great idea of what was place. Many people may not even understand, or maybe they heard, but you had the opportunity from your own see what took stand what took place. You may blame it, the prisoners, because a lot of the deaths of the so-called hostages aimed on the prisoners, when actually, in all actuality, National Guard that to those inmates and all cars, you know, and also about were killed in this situation, Attica riots of 1970. So we want, give me a phone on this phone call 740. So we're gonna chop it up. I'm gonna let y'all hear something. Something that I done a while ago. Check it out. It's called Never Going Back by the Invisible.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Amazing.
Never Going Back by the
I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. You heard I ain't never going back. They don't know what it's like when you face 25 to life. Not knowing you ever see daylight again, you lose your mind in the night. Might seem we had the time of our lives. Back then we were getting that money and out of jail. Before we turn 20, waking up in the pen. Day ain't sunny now. Try to tell these young boys think. And nothing like in the cell door clink. Gotta sleep on your bed with one eye open. Look low, homie, don't blink. Never know when shit gon' go down. Then listen when he told me to slow down. Wish I knew then what a nigga know now. Should've picked up the pen instead of 4 pounds. I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. You heard I ain't never going back. 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 You heard I ain't never going back. They don't know what it's like. Get thrown on a gun or a knife. But when you run the street, who's to say how you handle it is either wrong or right. One day's like a long ass fight. They hear grown men scream at night. All you got is 3 hots in the cot as well as this gym that's light. Rather die as a man than live as a coward. Then live with a bunch of control freaks. C.E.Os who come to work just abuse their power. Washing up in the buckets only 2 times out the week. I get the shower. Sitting in the box with an hour wreck. Being locked down for 23 hours. Writing letters till my fingers hurt. Sick and tired of being stripped and searched. Thought it just was born and I was mad as hell that I just missed her birth. They just gave me a ticket. Violate my cell and all I had was some bitches. Disrespect my mom, then all of a sudden these dickheads wanna terminate my visit. That's how to tell these young boys think. And nothing like in the cell door clink. Gotta sleep on your back with one eye open. Look low, homie, don't blink. Never know when shit gon' go down. Then listen, they told me to slow down. Wish I knew then what a nigga know now. Should've picked up the pen instead of 4 pounds. I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. You heard I ain't never going back. 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 You heard I ain't never going back.
Never Going Back by the Invisible Man. Song I wrote many years ago when I was going through my times, being sentenced to 20 at the tender age of 22 years old. and felt my life was over. However, God, I got my time back. Me and my defendant. Shout out to Frog. Um, we black came up out of that. We stronger, black, we're more aware, and just want to build now. So this is what Hip Hop Raised Me, the blog, is all about. About bringing awareness about the knowledge, the culture, and the lifestyle. Hip hop raised me, and unfortunately, live. So, but hip hop is definitely one of them. So like I said, we waiting on this phone call. Rikers Allen. We with the issues that they point, during their, during the fighting to get come home. The Attica Riots of 1970, many conditions that were, having to, just toilet paper, you know, uh, one bar, more than one bar soap showers every 2 weeks. Can you take a shower once every 2 weeks? Many of the conditions with, have changed somewhat, but Gary never been out of prison, really not that much changed, because we have a lot of correctional officers blame the prisoners, their relatives, and unfortunate, they treat us very, 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 if that was the, if that was what was a society want, many of us that when we were younger, many of us made mistakes. So it's not like just wanted to become career criminal. Things were put in place where, we were, into this uh career criminal, that lifestyle. We were tricked into that because wrong, and we made some very, very, that cost many of us lives, and the odd thing about that is, brothers and sisters who come out of prison and you seem like they haven't changed mentally. They hasn't. Their mind was before they went to prison. Fortunately, that's the only thing you have to go off of when none of your family and friends are reaching out. Exactly what, you know want you to. They want you to forget friends that are currently in. I had an aunt used to say they want you young black brothers to go to jail from faggots. And fortunately, that word is can't use that word these days. We all know that's no slight to the LGBT. That's just what it was. They wanted to create. They wanted us to be away from our women. Be away from our children. You know, it, things didn't happen. Things by design. So I that. We want to touch on, go on what happened during these within the prison systems of America. Out of the riots that made they all trickled one particular riot, which 1971 in Attica, New York. Attica, you know, I spent over 3-4 years in myself, and I definitely, you know, have a first in that prison, and the correctional officers move with prisoners, and you know, we don't call ourselves convicts, you know, we cons, so you know, about our lifestyle. It's nothing to glorify. Nothing but poison, you know, death. So I don't glorify none of that stuff. You know, to do to you and those, power to you, but you know, life instead of death. You know? So we waiting for these brothers to, you know, should be calling vain and but you know, give me a second. You know, I'm in the middle of take care. You know, cross promoting and working and things that. But I want y'all to stop what you doing, man. And if you watching this, hit the like button. You know, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot to bring forth. You know, I'm just doing a whole lot right now, and doing a whole lot right now. You know, trying to, you know, one day at a time. Hold on for it. And we back. Waiting on this phone call. You know, let me know if you know about the Attica riots. You know, I heard stories of it. You know, a lot of things that took place in that, in you know, the years. You know, is you know, you know, when I was in prison, you know, a moment of silence, and it's not like we celebrated that particular moment. We actually gave arms. You know, they do praise it. You know, so we wouldn't eat during anniversaries of the Attica riots through September 13th. Eat, and there was always a rule: you bang twice. Get up, when you sit down, sit in, when you get up, you bang twice. You know, you bang back on the individual. You know, it's about and taught us about having respect, which a lot of street, you know, they lost touch of having respect for the fellow man or fellow woman. Lost touch. That's why we have a lot of people go communicate with each other because they respect for each other. You know, respect is not supposed to be a given. And if you think respect, you already lost in life, and you're gonna have a hard trying to prove or gain your respect. Give it to get it. Yes, you know. We wait on these young brothers. You know, these young brothers to call. You know, all right.
Y C dot G V slash D C.
Rise up, rise.
Freedom is a must. Freedom is a must.
That part.
Hold on.
From Hip Hop Raised Me, the blog, and you know, we want to thank you for speak on it, my brother. And can you introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Chief Raheem Buzz, man, Gorilla Knowledge Ball, Gorilla Knowledge Ball. You know, I'm this a year, close to a decade, talented year since my conviction was over. Conditions are deplorable. The same issues that the brothers had and revisiting history. It's like we revisiting history. Had brothers here that signed up for sick call, full, and they don't even have escorts to get us to sick call. Tissue, soap, medication, like mail, man, we just got. Food is always cold. Roaches be on cars. The food cards is disgusting. The conditions here are deplorable. They don't give us cleaning supplies to clean the shower, off in the showers. This shit is visiting Attica and brothers to lay down their own lives.
Hold on. Let me get this correct. Others are prepared to lay down their own lives just for the basic that you supposed to be give.
The basic minimum for me, every pre-trial detainee, or every child of God, basically.
But basically, every pre-trial detainee have execute rights that they are given. And right now, what's going on Rikers Island? What part of is this taking place, my brother?
AMKCC 95. I'm called up at 8. The two escorts here now. One for the insulin runs. The brothers be having to fight and all something that just their life. Never come, man. I have a brother here named Waters
On the situation, man.
Okay, speak on it, brother.
Peace to all those brothers, man, who got our concerns in their best heart, man. Here, I think my brother Nahid comes in and like yourself, you know what I'm saying, who hear some of our cries. Nobody saying I please, you know what I mean? They got the C.E.O. and they're talking about how the conditions are bad for them. Well, guess what? Deal. And we the last one who got to deal with all inhumane right now. They feel like they trying to provoke. And I'm trying to live, man. I ain't trying to die. And until a number of us die in here, they won't realize. That's the bottom line. And I'm trying to live, man. Attica, man.
Okay, and what's your name, my brother?
My name is Dow Waters. You may see my name on the papers coming up soon.
Okay.
Some lawyers are trying to work with. They're trying to work with us, but they're taking a long ass time. I don't know what's going on. Why they're taking here are blatantly. I mean, look, if they get to the cameras on. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we need somebody to get to the cameras. C95, AMC, people could understand what's going on, see what these and very inhumane conditions going on C95.
One of the worst things that's going on is that we don't have other buildings have tablets where they have the law library on it. We got nothing in the fine. We got these HEB lawyers, these who get these city checks. All they want to move on to the next case. We got nobody here to speak for these people, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now. Stop, man.
Oh man. Well, you know, me the blog. We stand in solidarity with you brothers in C95 and Rikers Island. Lord, man, no problem.
With the NAACP, we're going about the situation. Where they at? What we choose to grab.
Exactly.
Nobody. We are accused, and being that we can't pay these. We're subject to this inhumane. If you can't safely hold us in detention, give us ankle monitors. Monitors around. They violent, may repeat crime. Give them ankle monitors and monitors.
All right, can you tell the people that's listening right now? Can you tell them all the conditions y'all dealing with right now? Came in late.
Yeah, just tuning in. I'm thankful for this podcast. Thank you to bring this knowledge to y'all. The shit is deplorable. When they talk, it means that they don't give us no services. People get locked in their cell, don't even have staff to secure them. So they know that they're being given cold food to eat, and which is not enough food. Okay, when we're able to buy our own stuff, it's crazy. Why won't they spend our money locally with they talk about support the local businesses and open our parlor or a hamburger. They don't care nothing about us. They're talking about catering to the offices and bringing them in meals and provide them with taxi services to and from work. For the locals, be able to get some of our black and talk about this commissary. Nobody, the black and brown people, our money comes from our family members, our supporters. They were black and brown. They don't go back to our community. That money gets food to the white folks out in these suburb places, in the East region. None of that money is being recycled back in our community. Our supporters who work for this money. Look, they got one sticker there. Think back on that. Boom. What? Well, they're killing it, man. That's now called the game. But these suckers on Rikers Island are allowed to wear Puma. You know, Puma, they have a total monopoly over this. Think back on that. You know what I'm saying? Man, it needs to be brought to the light, man. And I'm telling you right, some of us are ready to die. And unfortunately, brother, dead than alive.
Pop raising me the blog. We stand in solidarity. And y'all hear it first from the young brother. You know that they are ready to die for their basic, just for the basic human rights. Yeah, where's the NAACP? When is the NAACP? Where these people that's supposed to be advocating the prisoners on Rikers Island? Well, you're no longer voiceless. Voice over here at Hip Hop Raised Me the blog.
Thank you. My brother Knowledge, he gonna come and speak to you now. Like I said, brothers, I'm saying he's always on point and trying to educate our young about it. We got, but the idol.
Nothing to do. Nothing to do.
No, you don't go on no recreation. You just left on the unit. You just. That's what you want. How you want people to live? Ain't no. What about a family day for our family?
Yeah. So the visit. So did they not open?
Man, the business is crazy. Let me tell you what it is. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it'll let you have 1 hour with this madness to come up here and sit with you.
So they make your family and friends go to see y'all.
I said there's a kind of
to deterrent. Yeah, to deterrent. Yeah, to try to deter them from.
Even making a phone call, it takes approximately a minute and a half to get you connected to your.
Yeah.
It's all caught from us, man.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
Well, praise is going to the brothers on Rikers Island, the sisters on Rikers. Are you aware of if it's happening in any Rikers Island, any other buildings?
And mismanagement going on throughout the island, but this reigns supreme. I mean, they'll have 6 officers walking 1 guy around us. You know what I mean? Talk about he you know what I'm saying? And these officers are allowed to walk. I mean, so the speech management is a problem in this place where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, and we don't. They never bring the newspapers to us. They don't want to have any.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. The newspaper. We should get newspapers every day. Now they claim they have to bring. It's not a priority to them. The priorities that are priority. More library. That's a top priority, you know. Staff for more library. They don't staff a number of things that are important.
On toilet tissue, toothpaste.
Now let's talk to you about the supplies, man, that we don't. I appreciate this and Darryl Waters, and I'm checking in with y'all, you know, around here. And, you know, if I live through this situation, to give y'all some more support. But my feeling now is that better to probably die than to live under this oppression. Peace.
No, freedom is a must, my brother. So.
I won't stop, man. The brother pouring over the people worldwide, man, and it's still and we have it covered, bro. They have officers working shifts, bro. 2 days. How is he going to protect me in the or something? This is the failure to protect these people. Unions on their side. If he's been in 4 hours, how is he going to have the energy?
Yeah, that's
body or anyone.
That's
the
crazy.
It's a mildew remover that because of the water, these black mold and rust in the shower. That's all. I have no. no mop heads. The commissary, the first time we had it was last week for the whole time, bro.
Oh,
I
wow.
couldn't even buy soap, let alone get the soap that we're entitled to from the office. We couldn't even buy shampoo. Even if we be trying to get the C.E.O. the medicated, their favorite line is we don't have enough staff.
Oh, wow.
But you have enough to kill and lock us in and deny us our standards, our rights. They'll be wolfish.
You have 1 minute left.
We have 1 minute left. If you don't.
Left, bro. We let's speak on it. Keep going. I'm gonna let you speak. Keep going. Keep going.
These conditions are deplorable in the library, in the central park districts in prison. They're denying us. These are United States citizens that are being ignored, brother. Our last hope, Lord Library is our last hope. The 18th are officers of the court and their lawyers court first, not us, man. And I hope me and the brothers, man, we make it. It's coming in time, and this is the time that what.
Well, we gonna share. We gonna share.
Goodbye.
Hear it first at Hip Hop Raised Me the Blog. You know, who's the deplorable going on Rikers Island and C9, you know, and sure the neglect is going on throughout all the buildings on Rikers Island. We want to shed light. The brother, you know, brother Dawood, many other brothers that's going, you know, facing these issues now. Like I said, is it's revisited in one on the date of 28th, Wednesday, July 28th, from Knowledge Born himself, speaking on the conditions that they're facing, how they're being denied their basics and their basic things mandated through the government about the state. Things are being ignored. Law library, they deny, the contact of the courts. You know, sick call, they not call, but they're running around millions giving people vaccinations. Rikers Island at this point. Theorists, however, all right. So we want to make aware of all the things that's going on Rikers Island right at this point. Please share this. Please, share. We're going to make a stink out of this the best way we can. This is Hip Hop Raised Me the Blog, where we celebrate the youngest genre of music, which is hip hop. About the knowledge, the culture, and the lifestyle. My name This is HipHopRaisedMeTheBlog.com, where we celebrate 47 years of the youngest genre of music, hip hop. Where it's about the knowledge, the culture. This is HipHopRaisedMeTheBlog.com. This is HipHopRaisedMeTheBlog.com, where we celebrate 47 years of the youngest genre of music, hip hop. Where it's about the knowledge, the culture, and the lifestyle. My name is C.E.O. Dream, and this is the future of hip hop journalism. Hip Hop Raised Me. Them brothers on Rikers Island, Just wanted to say that. Send our prayers to the young brothers on RIKERS willing to give their life just for the base of things that they was supposed. This hip hop raised me. My name is C.E.O. Dream, and I'm out.